everyone, welcome back. I trust you all had the great lunch. It was very evident by the time we wound up the peanut segment that we couldn't keep a lot of you away from the very well laid out lunch this afternoon. So before I start and I begin with our post-lunch session, can I please ask all of you to give an amazing round of applause to NES Century Exports Limited for bringing up and laying out this marvelous lunch for us. Well, truly, I'm sure it must have been not easy staying away from that fabulous food. I want to find out how many of you went to the Al Saraya restaurant for lunch. Can I see a show of hands? Okay. How many of you had lunch at Al Mashrabia? There are certain people who are not raising their hand at all. Gentlemen, you've had lunch, right? Okay. So everyone, let's start this afternoon. And I'd like to start by opening the post-lunch session for Global Sesame Trade, Challenges and Opportunities. Chairing this session is Mr. K.S. Prakash, the Business Unit Director for Hakan Foods DMCC. The panelists, and as I start calling out your names, gentlemen, please start taking your seats up on the stage. The panelists are Mr. Rengarajann, the Director, India Corporate Office for Torq Commodities, Mr. Kunal Kotecha, the partner at Padm Agro, Mr. Juby Moothedom, Harvest Afrique Grains, Cereals and Legumes Company LLC, and Mr. Tahir Onur Yalcin, the Managing Director, Akdeniz Fora GIDA. And as all of our guests come up, let me tell you a little bit more in detail about each one of them. Mr. K.S. Prakash, an Indian citizen currently settled in Dubai. He is a commerce graduate with a master's degree in business administration. He has over 30 years of vast experience in the field of oilseeds and pulses and is presently the director and partner of Hakan Foods DMCC, which is one of the leading agro-commodities supply chain organization based in UAE, presently actively trading in oilseeds, pulses, oils and animal feed. Our first panelist this afternoon is Mr. Rengarajann, or as Mr. Rajan, all of us know him, is a BSc in Physics and a Master Mariner, MBA. By professional qualification, he's a Master Mariner, but after starting his career as a trainee navigating officer in the Shipping Corporation of India, he went on to become a captain on container ships carrying various commodities across the globe. He stepped ashore in 2005 and worked in container terminal in Nhava Sheva for 5 years with a major container shipping line. And he has been involved in trading of agro-commodities including sesame, RCN, soya bean for the last 6 years. And ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker this afternoon, Mr. Kunal Kotecha, is an MBA in International Business, having active trading and manufacturing expertise in the field of peanuts and sesame for the last 2 decades. He has served as a director in IOPepsi, the Government of India enterprise. Mr. Juby Moothedom is a commerce graduate with a master's in foreign trade, presently residing in Dubai. He embarked on his professional journey in shipping in 2004, gaining substantial expertise in freight forwarding and vessel chartering. And for the last 7 years, he's been deeply involved in the oilseeds and the pulses sector. Presently, he's the director and partner at Harvest Afrique Grains and Cereals Trading Company LLC. Our final presenter on the podium this afternoon will be Mr. Tahir Onur Yalcin, graduated in Business Administration and Economics and started his professional path with a leading commodity company in 2009, and he's gained significant experience in diverse roles such as accounting, sales support, financial controlling, and eventually metamorphosed into being a sesame trader. His expertise led him to take on the role of the managing director and the owner of Akdeniz Fora GIDA in Turkey. Ladies and gentlemen, as I hand over this session to Mr. K.S. Prakash, as you're all aware of the protocol, each of the panelists come up. The time is a maximum of 10 minutes, gentlemen. That's a maximum. And the question answer sessions are a combined forum at the end of the presentations moderated by the chairperson. Have a great session, everyone. Good morning. Thank you. Happy to see that all of us are still awake.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Hi. I hope you had a good lunch and now it's a time to sleep. But don't sleep. This is going to be an interesting topic. We all are going, what we are facing in our trade, which we are going to discuss to our best of knowledge. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Srivastava and his team for arranging this conference in this beautiful city of Jordan. And I would like to thank him also for giving us this opportunity where we can express our feelings about challenges and opportunities, if any. Okay, during the COVID period, what we thought, oh, we are going through a very difficult time. This is the worst thing we can ever have. But somehow we came out of this COVID. Does that mean that all our problems solved? Is our business going very well, smoothly? If you ask me this question, I would say no, a big emphatic no. Actually, the problems started. COVID is the time we faced and its continuation, and probably we have more problems than those time. Now, I would classify the current challenges into three. One is the political challenges. Second is the financial and currency challenges. And third one is the logistical challenges. In political challenges, we all know we are going through a war, Ukraine and Russia war. Then we have political instability in Sudan. Then we have in Chad little bit. Ethiopia have some problems. So we will discuss something on about that. And the second one is the financial and currency challenges. It's a real challenge. Most of the countries facing a devaluation of their currencies. Some countries facing heavily, some countries medium, and some countries it's small. But every country has the problems. We are going to discuss about that one also. Rate of interest has increased. We should see what is the impact. And liquidity problem in the banks. This all we will cover in financial and currency challenges. Then the third one is the logistical challenges. Okay, of course, logistical challenges is a continuation from COVID time, but it's still continuing and we will have more problem. It's also related to the political instabilities in various countries. We are facing increase in inland transportation, availability of trucks or inland transportation methods are less. Then we are facing many ports are having congestions. Containers are staying for a long time. People are using, so many NVOCCs are coming into this market. There is no proper tracking system of those NVOCCs. The transit time is increasing. Thereby, our funds are getting blocked more time and profits are coming down. So this also we will discuss about this during our various presentations. Okay, now Mr. Varsava told me to discuss challenges and opportunities. When I'm saying all these problems, issues, you all will think that, oh, this guy is so negative. No, I'm not. There are some opportunities are there. Which are the opportunities? First of all, if there was no problem, Mr. Srivastava would not have initiated this conference. There was no chance for us to meet each other, so it's an opportunity. We all came to Jordan. We can see the sightseeing of Jordan. We can go to Petra, swim in Dead Sea, taking the good food of Arabian cuisines, sleep peacefully. All are opportunity. Because I don't see in this sea, there's a big opportunity is coming. The only thing is that if we face this and overcome all our issues, challenges, then that's an opportunity. Anyway, thank you. Now I will have my panel members who will discuss, who will give a presentation of various issues from their side. What are the challenges and opportunities? After that, we will have a discussion, question answer session. All of you please actively involve in that. We can discuss all challenges, because it's going to be one of the most important topic of this, the whole conference, I believe. Okay, hope my panel members will be able to solve all your trade problems during this session. Thank you. Thank you again.
To give the presentation, first I invite Rengarajann from Torq Commodities, who will be covering the logistic issues mainly. Please.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think after a good, nice lunch, people must be thinking, what kind of topic is this? I just overheard someone speaking outside. This next topic is crybabies. No, not really. We're just discussing the challenges, and at the same time, see we can share things and see how to go forward. That's the whole idea. I like to thank Srivats and his team for a fantastic conference. The way they are conducting conferences, they are setting the benchmarks high each time. I think they'll get it tough next time to beat this one. Thanks Srivats and team for a fantastic organizing. They usually do it well, and this time better. Well, the only challenge for me now, every time we go out to some exotic location, I think most of you would have faced, family will be asking, you are enjoying, let us also come along. So next time I think we will see more families. I see Srivats encouraging that as well. Thank you for including me as one of the panel speakers. Truly honored to be in front of a nice, well-informed, knowledge audience. While we talk about problems, I would appeal to everyone, use this forum to collaborate, to network, and of course, we are looking at prosperity, but other than prosperity, please think, we'll have to think about sustainability, we'll have to think about the communities with whom we are working, and be inclusive. That's an appeal from my side while we start discussing challenges. Before going through any challenges, I would like to just give a brief introduction of what we do. Torq was founded in 2017, and we are doing agriculture. Other than agri, we are into minerals and metals as well. We are mainly present in West Africa for the agri, and for the minerals, we are in coal in Indonesia, and we are exploring other origins as well. These are our main commodities in West Africa. I think by and large, most of the audience would know these commodities which we are involved in. I would not spend much time on this. We talk of possibilities in Sesame. We have heard all kinds of numbers. So this discussion is not for the numbers. We know the numbers now well. Starting from Tarun, everybody gave us the feedback about the crop size and things like that. This panel is primarily to discuss the challenges. And just to give a short overview of Torq's growth in Sesame, we did our first Sesame contract in 2019 after attending the Sesame conference in Istanbul. We did our first contract, and since then we have been operating out of 3 West Africa origins. Our sales volumes have gone about 5 times in 3 years, and we are at the moment covering about 50% of the major Chinese companies, and in this duration we have done about 30,000 tons of Sesame, and looking forward to do more. As a part of our giving back to the community, we are working with the National Sesame Seeds Association of Nigeria. We have been involved in some farmer training to increase the output, to give a better overview to them of better practices. That's something which we as Torq, as company, we would like to give back to the communities where we operate. We would be doing similar initiatives in Senegal, Burkina Faso, and other countries where we operate. Now, the challenges about the countries where we are operating, most of the challenges, my life is now easy, most of the challenges have been covered. So I'll run through quickly. Nigeria, if you look at the challenges, mainly the farming techniques are sort of still outdated. still below 800 kilogram per hectare, whereas, you can go till maybe 2000. 2000 is a bit far-fetched, but certainly can be better. Second thing is poorly organized inland hauling operations. The trucks are a challenge, getting containers, everything is a challenge. And with little bit of political instability, then things can go haywire. Poor road infrastructure is another issue which usually delays and causes a lot of damages to the vehicles also. If you speak to the vehicle owners and the drivers, you would realize there are a lot of breakdowns which happen due to the poor condition of the roads themselves. Recently during the election there were some riots, there were some disturbances during that time, and I think now everything is settled there. Currency fluctuation we heard a lot, and glad to hear that some corrective measures have already been taken, and we're all looking forward to see things get better with the Naira. And port congestion and delays, this is a common problem. When we started, we were operating in Lagos, Apapa, and then we sort of moved to Port Harcourt. Then the challenges remain the same. The shipping lines, they have their own challenges. The usual thing you hear is vessel skipping, and your containers are in the port terminal for like 15 days, 20 days without any visibility. This is a common challenge. This challenge I think is there by and large in all of the West Africa nations. Next is Burkina Faso. You saw the recent political unrest, a lot of challenges due to the change in regime, quite a bit of security issues as well, but luckily things are getting slowly better, I would say. Hopefully it should settle better. Delayed or rather reduced arrival of cargo from the bushes during the political unrest, that was also a challenge. Poor infrastructure is hitting the supply chain, in terms of road networks, trucks, everything is still sort of outdated. And to add to that, being a landlocked country, there is a shortage of containers, so you have to send the cargo, majority people are using Lome, so there is an issue sending by road. The condition of roads are poor, and there are challenges at the border, the costs are increasing, and there are some new regulations at the border whereby there are some additional taxations coming in. So these kind of barriers increase your timelines and increase your cost as well. Moving on next, we operate in Senegal as well, but a small crop compared to the other nations. Senegal, Mali put together is less than 20,000. It's a small crop, more of mixed sesame. It's not a whitish like a Burkina or Bauchi. There the issues are like very similar issues we have, like agricultural technologies is not to what you would desire. Climatic issues are there, plus there is this issue of farmers moving to more of the other oily crops compared to sesame. And last one but not the least, port congestion. Often you hear vessel skipping, and even if there is a vessel, and in particular in Senegal there is a different issue whereby you don't get in the containers in the port terminal, you are actually handing over to the CFS kind of yards outside, and the transportation from there is done by shipping line. Due to congestion, you will very often hear this, that you give a lot of 10 containers and maybe only 5 reach or 6 reach, rest are left behind, and the shipping line doesn't give you correct information. After the vessel sails out, you come to know that the shipment has been split, and you are running around for documents. So this causes huge delays in documentation, your timelines increase, and it causes lot of issues. So these are the 3 major countries which we are operating for Sesame in West Africa. So I have just covered a few things onto that. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me later. Thank you.
Thank you, Rengarajann. It was quite informative and crisp one. Now, the second speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Kunal Kotecha. Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and I would like to thank Swapna and her team to give this opportunity to make a presentation on opportunities and challenges in Sesame for China and Sudan. So my presentation is really brief. I'll take maybe 3.5 minutes to complete the presentation. Yeah, so something about our group. Shri Padm Group is an international brokerage house focusing on peanuts and sesame of all origin. We also do watermelon seeds and pulses. We are headquartered in India, having offices in Dubai, Sudan, and recently in China. Thank you. So something about sesame production and acreage. The total acreage across the world is 8.8 million hectares, out of which the production is 4.2 million, and total global trade is 2.3 million. So just giving you the China imports of sesame seeds, the total import of sesame seeds is 480,000 tons from January to July 2023, out of which the highest export is from Niger and Nigeria, thereafter Sudan, then Togo, and then to all other countries. So largely it's based from Africa to China. So the interesting part is the inventory of sesame seeds in China ports is at historic low. So we had a topmost inventory in 2020-21 at 232,000 tons, and currently the inventory in China port is around 110,000 tons combined at Qingdao and Tianjin and other ports. So this is an interesting statistic. If China starts restocking the sesame, then it is a very bullish trend for the global sesame market. Yeah, so the challenges in import of sesame seeds to China is first is currency fluctuation. I mean, yuan is at a multi-year low at around 7.32 per dollar, and the grapevine suggests that it could go up to $7.45. I mean, that would again affect the pricing as well as the demand. The second is uneven demand from China. I mean, it is very hard to predict the demand at the moment from China because it is more an inflationary trend in sesame. So that's the reason why they are holding their purchases, and that is really affecting the sesame demand from China. The third is high price. I mean, the reason why there is a less stock in Chinese ports is largely or more or less because of the high price of sesame seeds. I mean, if the trend continues for the higher price in sesame seeds, so whether the China demand will come back or not is a big question for restocking the cargo. And this year the total domestic production of Chinese sesame seeds is somewhere close to 375 to 400,000 tons. I mean, can it substitute the shortage in the Sudan and Ethiopia crop or not is to be seen. Yeah, the Sudan scenario, I mean, it's very hard to get all the data, but what I've heard is Gaddarif is still good, but areas of North Kandufan, South Kandufan, Darfur, East, West, North, South, Mid Darfur, as well as other areas, the crop is really not that good. So we expect the crop to be somewhere close to 80% compared to last year. Normal production in sesame in Sudan is around 550 to 600,000 tons, which can go low to 400 to 450,000 tons. Yeah, this is my coordinate and can get in touch with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Kunal Bhai. It was a short and nice presentation. Now, as a third speaker, I will call Mr. Juby George to discuss the logistics problem, mainly focusing on Sudan.
Good evening, everyone. We are honored to be a part of this gathering to discuss the logistical challenges from Sudan, Chad, and Ethiopia. Before delving into the heart of the matter, I would like to express my heartfelt concerns to the Sudanese people who are enduring the turmoil within their nation. The ongoing conflicts in Sudan has resulted in the displacement of around 3.75 million people in and out of the country. A distressing situation that we acknowledge with deep concern. Our thoughts are with them. Let's dive into the challenges we have faced in these countries. Let's start with Sudan. I would like to categorize these challenges in Sudan into three key aspects. First one is port operation, second one is the main lines versus NVOCCs, and the third one is the infrastructural constraints. Starting with port operations, in Port Sudan there are 4 berths primarily designated for the container vessels: berth 13, 14, 17 and 18. However, the current operational status of these berths is a matter of concern. Berth 13 has 1 gantry crane operational while another remains out of order. The same scenario holds for berth 14. Berth 17 on the other hand has 1 crane functioning and another one undergoing repair with intermittent functionality. Berth 18 mirrors the situation of berth 13 and 14. The main problem is the port is unable to advise the gantry crane readiness since the spares are readily not available. This will be a definite challenge that compounds the existing obstacles. Furthermore, the efficiency of the port operation is hindered by the shifts. There are primarily 3 employee shifts in Port Sudan. Every shift changing lasting from 1 to 2 hours time, leading to a substantial idle period of approximately 3 to 6 hours within the 24-hour operation cycle. Fuel scarcity has impacted the port operations, affecting the critical equipments such as reach stackers, port vehicles and forklifts, all of which are heavily dependent on the fuel. The container loading onto the vessels have been constrained to 50% of the capacity, resulting in delays in the vessel berthing and subsequent operations. Moving on to the next point, the main lines versus NVOCCs. It's been an interesting roller coaster. We have seen the rise of the NVOCC in the Port Sudan has both positive and negative dynamics. Main advantage of NVOCC is weekly sailing. While some NVOCC have positively contributed, others unfortunately with lack of container availability. Slot planning has proven to be a challenge for numerous NVOCCs. Many rely on the feeder vessels shuttling from Port Sudan and Jeddah. These NVOCC negotiate slots with the main line carriers. Most of the NVOCC have 30 days free time in Jeddah, which is the transshipment point. They aim to load the containers within the 30 days free time window, but when they can't secure the slots on the main vessels, it results in multiple transshipment points, creating delays that can throw our plans out of track. Tracking NVOCC has posed difficulties, requiring meticulous follow-up for information. However, the advantage of smaller feeder vessels lies in their easy berthing and swift operations. In contrast, major lines like Maersk, MSC, CMA, HEPEG and PIL have notably decreased the container availability. A shift from 3 sailings in a month to just 1 sailing per month has occurred, accompanied by extended main vessel operations of 15 to 20 days. The alteration of the main route now passing through Jeddah, Aden, Djibouti has elongated the return times. Earlier, they were going directly to Jeddah. Another problem is there is a possible shortage of containers during the season. This is mainly because the import clearance is too slow nowadays. Also, after emptying the containers, movement of containers from import yard to the export yard is taking time due to the above said problems. Let's discuss the infrastructural challenges. Prices have shot up locally, causing a ripple effect in the previous years because of the high cost of labor, warehouse and cleaning process. In Port Sudan, majority of the processing operations shifted to Khartoum Omdurman and to other places. But now what we see is a rush back to Port Sudan, which created high warehouse, labor, cleaning costs. Unfortunately, in the coming season, we predict a waiting line for the processing due to the limited units, plus fuel shortages might make things even more delayed. Trucking is also a pinch because of the fuel issues, possibly causing transportation costs to the spike as we move further into the season. Also, now all the customs paperwork and manifests are doing manually, combined with network problems, electricity issues, and are causing delays in the shipping documents. Moving on to the next country, Ethiopia. The internal conflicts in the northern region have disturbed the production areas. Though some recovery has been observed, emerging conflicts could further jeopardize harvesting and supply. Escalating local sesame prices up by over 40% pose challenges for exporters, necessitating a corresponding change in the international prices. Government prices control have occasionally hindered supply flow and exports, adding complexity. Financial constraints driven by high inflation led to limitations on the bank loan growth, potentially restricting access to the finance for exporters. The logistical landscape in Ethiopia is equally turbulent, with container shortages, increased fuel cost, and internal conflicts, causing delays and escalating expenses. Moving on to Chad. In the context of Chad, the primary logistical hurdle lies in the transportation from Chad to Douala, a journey typically spanning 7 to 10 days due to the challenging road conditions. Furthermore, there is a potential congestion at Douala port, leading to extended delays of 15 to 20 days for container loading onto the vessel after gate-in. Additionally, as previously mentioned, transit times can stretch from 70 to 90 days, at times primarily due to loading delays at transshipment points. To sum it up, we have faced our shares of hurdle, but we are committed to overcoming them. Our journey isn't without its challenges, but with the right approach, collaboration, and a bit of luck, we believe in the potential these markets hold. Thank you.
Thanks, Juby. It was a nice presentation. I think we could get a lot of information about logistical, especially in Sudan, Chad, and Ethiopia. Now, to present in our session the last speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Tahir Onur to discuss focusing on Turkish issues. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Today I would like to address the challenges and opportunities of Turkey market in the current landscape. Turkey has become an important hub for the Middle East and Europe, especially after all these challenges our other panelists have told, the conflicts and port issues in Sudan and other shipment issues after COVID. Turkey has become a hub. Because of ITO problems in India sesame, some buyers in Europe have switched to Turkish hulled sesame permanently. The benefit of shorter transit times help buyers in this region manage their supply and cash flow much better. In the past couple of years, the number of companies involved in stock and sales has gone up a lot. This is good for the factories, but it is a big challenge for the traders and exporters. The buyers' habits have changed. Factories now check the quality of different sesame stocks and pick the best one at the price they want. So many factories have reduced their import quantities. But this led to problems. By end of 2021-22 season, they ended up buying sesame at higher than international replacement prices. Because this strategy ended up having low stock levels and just when they needed more, and prices went up. Traders with good stock levels made reasonable money. As a result of this, as a result of being an attractive market for a short period of time, in last year the price went up locally in Turkey to 2,300 levels. So even more traders started doing stock and sales in Turkey, especially when Chinese buyers were not showing any interest. However, this season they didn't make as much money because factories learned from their mistakes. Their stock levels were just fine. Plus, bigger stocks were available in the market at the hand of traders. So prices in Turkey were often lower than international prices. One of the other challenges is Nigeria sesame is being rejected due to salmonella test for around last 1 year. As a result, not much Nigerian sesame is coming to Turkey. In 2021, Turkey imported around 40,000 tons of Nigerian sesame, and in first 7 months of 2023, it was only 11 tons, including Niger documents. Last few months, the other challenge is last few months, shipments from Chad is being rejected because of fake certificates. The clearance also takes a very long time because we wait for the ministry's response. It takes around 1 month to 40 days sometimes. The current high prices of sesame have pushed the factories to look for alternative, cheaper options, especially with the shortage of Nigerian sesame. However, the test and output is not similar to Nigerian sesame. The question is, will it lead to lose their customers, or their customers will get used to lower quality tahini and halwa? The factories should carefully consider these factors for their long-term business. Another challenge is the current economic situation with various factors. The depreciation of Turkish lira in past 3 years, coupled with foreign currency shortages and recent rising interest rates, indeed have significant implications for the sesame market like all other markets. The banks used to provide finance at very reasonable rates until the end of March 2023, especially in Turkish lira. Now, due to foreign currency shortage, it's harder to get financial help from the banks, and it might even get harder. Now the Turkish lira interest rate is around 50%. The rising interest rate is making things difficult for the stockholders. On the other hand, selling raw or finished products to final buyers on credit in the local currency is causing losses. Now the end buyers need longer credit terms, and the sellers don't have enough sources to meet their payment term requirements. This can also lead to higher bad debt provisions, impact a business' financial health. A key concern remains defaults within the industry. Continued support for defaulters without consequences affect market stability. Defaults create a false perception of lower prices. A defaulter who already makes 200, 300 extra margin because of his default doesn't mind selling $50 lower than the market. This makes buyer think the genuine traders are making huge margins and giving high price. And the buyers decide to wait for the new purchases because of the wrong perception of low price. And later they end up buying at higher levels. It is mandatory for the industry to address this issue to ensure sustained stability. I don't know such thing is possible. So in conclusion, Turkey's position as a logistic hub, changing trade dynamics, economic challenges, and defaults collectively shape the sesame market. Navigating these complexities requires a balanced approach that capitalizes on opportunities while addressing the critical challenges. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Onur. It was again a nice presentation about Turkey. Now, coming back to our presentation, I have few questions to Mr. Rengarajann. You said about Nigeria, mainly you focus. How is the port situation in Nigeria? And what are the main ports used? I think it's like 2 ports, One and Apapa. But can you little bit explain the port situation? and the transportation to the ports, because a couple of years before there were terrific situation. So how is the situation now? Is there any work done? And about the currency situation, the second question about currency, what's your view next, short term, probably till end of the year? And third, this is two questions about Nigeria. Then about Burkina Faso, this, Burkina is under DFT till, couple of years before the DFT, the documentation was not completed. I believe it's almost completed, and what is the situation? Is there enough DFT available there to ship as Burkina Faso, so that we don't need to look, shipping Togo or Mali origin? And finally, out of the subject, what's your crop estimation for Nigeria and Burkina?
Thank you, Prakash. About Nigeria, we are using, see, there are two port options, as I said earlier during my presentation. There is Apapa, which is Lagos, and One. So both options people are using. If you ask me, we use only One. It's a mixed bag. Like One is still not serviced fully by everyone frequently. There are challenges. But then compared to the challenges which you face in Apapa, like I think many in this room might have faced, out of 10 containers, maybe 9 reach and 1 is missing. You're still looking for it. At least in Port Harcourt, that issue is not there. So that one challenge we have overcome by shifting that side. That's one thing which we see. If you talk about port congestion, Apapa is usually congested. That has not changed much. It's usually congested, every ship gets delayed. That's one reason. If you ask the shipping line, if they have to maintain schedule, I think most of you in this room will know, these container ships, they run on a fixed liner rotation, so they have to come back to port. So if there is congestion in any one port, they'll have to skip one port. Now it's very easy for container shipping line to write a message that due to scheduling issues, this is a typical English you might have heard. Due to scheduling issues, the vessel has skipped, and next vessel will be after like 15 days. Now, for us, the containers are stuck inside port. There is capital stuck. You are answerable to the customer. This challenge is continuing. This same problem is there in Senegal as well. Nothing much has changed in Nigeria in terms of this logistics. If you talk about the road logistics, yes, the poor road conditions are still causing problems. It's not changed a lot. About your next question on Nigeria about currency fluctuation, you heard the gentleman from Nigeria, Mr. Karfi. He just mentioned to us that there are some control measures which have been put by the government, but I think it's very recent and it will be time tested. We'll have to wait and see. I would not be able to comment on anything futuristic, but if there are measures in place, we hope that all of us are able to reap the benefits out of it. Okay, about the DFT, still there are a lot of challenges in the sense, if you look at the recent political coup and the change of regime, still the issuance of certificates gets a lot of delayed, and there are a lot of challenges. Sometimes the certificate which is issued doesn't look like anything near an original. You tend to think somebody has just made it something like a homemade or something like that. DFT is done, but this issuance is taking delay. We have been managing recently with DFT, but of course the season is yet to start now. So we'll have to see how things pan up in the new season. Crop is yet to arrive. Hope for the best that the DFT works fully. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Rengarajann. My next, questions to Kunal Bhai. Kunal Bhai, when you said the stock level in China is like about 105,000 tons, then if probably last in 3 or 4 years we are seeing the lowest stock level in China. So when they have such a, it's like just above 1 month consumption, why they are not aggressively coming and buying cargo? Why they are just buying off and on, not heavy buying we are not seeing? And is that means the consumption in China is reducing really, or there is some other strategy they are implementing? And my second question is the local crop, you said it's a good, probably it can affect, but the price wise, local price is always much higher than the imported crop. Is it really that if the crop is good or bad? Okay, of course, bad probably it will affect. When it is good, is it going to affect their import figures? Because one is apple and one is orange in terms of price. And third one is, how is a Myanmar cargo going to China? How is that, the movement is happening? Is it smooth or having problems?
Thank you, Prakash. To the answering the first question, the stock limits at the stock lying at the ports in China. I mean, the total what I've read is 90,000 tons at Qingdao port and 20,000 tons at other ports, including Tianjin. So these are a very low level, but considering the currency fluctuation in Chinese market largely towards the lower side and the lack of demand which is uneven, they are not sure that there is a forward demand for 1 year which will be very good, and that is the reason why I think it will always remain a question than an answer, that what if they start restocking the Sesame for the next 1 year and taking it back to 230,000 tons, which was in 2021. So many factors will depend on that, but I think currency fluctuation and uneven demand are the reasons why they are not aggressively buying the sesame seeds, apart from the prices. Yeah, the local crop, ideally last year they had around 250,000 tons, this year it's somewhere close to 370,000 tons. So generally speaking, they normally import around 1 million ton of sesame, but I think the local crop with currency depreciation, that might have a bearing. That is the reason why they have not been very aggressive with Pakistan sesame, which is currently traded at around $1,740. So that is one reason. If the prices and if there is a certainty that Sudan crop is going to be very, very less and there won't be huge crop in Ethiopia also, then I think it will not have a bearing, very big bearing on the total imports by China, which will be close to 1 million tons. But at the moment, if you see the imports, it's only 480,000 tons in 7 months. So that is low compared to last year. I am not sure about the Myanmar movement. I haven't studied that data, but somebody else in the panel can take that question maybe.
Thank you, Kunal Bhai. And my next few set of questions is to Juby. You said the port cranes, there are only few, maybe like couple of port cranes only working overall, and they have some other cranes. Is there any chance to get it repaired? Is there any measures taking? So when the season starts, we can see some more cranes are getting operated, number one. Number two, few years before, I remember till few years before, Sudan was allowing the vessel cranes to, load the containers. But last few years, they stopped. Since the crane situation is very bad there, is there any chance that the port authorities can allow vessel cranes to load the containers, which can probably little bit speed up the operations over there? And second thing, when you said now in Sudan, it's almost inevitable that people should go to NVOCC for loading their containers. If somebody sticks to only main line vessels, probably they won't get cargoes for months. Okay, this is a problem which we know. Do you have any suggestions to the people? Maybe there are so many importers sitting here. Who are the good NVOCCs? Okay, it's not that we cannot say completely NVOCC is bad, but there could be some NVOCCs which are reputable, and probably we can have less stress. Do you have any suggestions so that, when these buyers, especially when they are buying from Sudan, they can put some restrictions in their contract? And the third question is, since there is a problem in Port Sudan, Is there any way that the Sudanese cargoes, at least certain part of cargoes, can move to Egypt and load from some ports in Egypt, where the pressure from Port Sudan can come down? And now you say that, okay, there is a problem because in the port there can be a congestion. Is it not an opportunity for the investors? Because they can invest money in Port Sudan and make their own yard and bring the containers there. Probably is it not an opportunity for, like Maersk has the containers, is it not an opportunity? And the last question to you, that's, I will come to somebody else. This, please reply to me this on the phone.
You showered up with a lot of questions. Sometimes, I may forget. Please. First of all, regarding the port conditions, as I mentioned, there are 4 berths primarily designated for the container vessel operations. The main issue is the port is unable to advise the spare parts availability. This is the main concern actually. So now every berth there is only one gantry crane functioning. If anything happening to that, then it will be a total mess, which is a fact. So apart from that, the reed stackers, the forklift and the port workers, the main issue in the Port Sudan is it's already running in the 50% capacity right now. The hourly loading to the vessel, the container loading to the vessel has drastically come down because of the lack of fuel availability actually. So this is a major concern. Actually speaking, the government has to take some measures, other than that there is no other go. Coming to the second question, regarding the NVOCCs, I cannot name any NVOCC unfortunately, because then the other NVOCC will look bad. What I can advise is, see, there are some reputable NVOCCs in Port Sudan. We have to choose them because there are a lot of NVOCC came to Port Sudan market where they are having 500 containers, 1000 containers and all. They are operating with that. Most of the NVOCC is facing the slot issues. So what they are doing is, they don't have any proper slot plan from Port Sudan. So what they do is, they take all their containers, majority of their containers to Jeddah, which is a transshipment point. From there they start planning, because they have a 30 days free time window there. So after getting into Port Sudan, then only they start fishing with the main lines for the slots. So we have to find out which NVOCCs are doing like that, and we have to avoid those NVOCCs, because sometimes they fail to get the slots. So that's why they move from one transshipment point to another transshipment point where they have a free time. That's why when sometimes we are finding out there is a lot of transshipment points getting involved in the transit. Moving on to the third,
Egyptian port.
I don't think it's a practical option actually, because already the cost has gone up. So trucking it to Egyptian port, I don't think it is a practical option actually.
How about the investment opportunity in Port Sudan?
Right now, it's not the right time. Because the whole, like last year, the majority of the cleaning plants was not functional in Port Sudan because of the high labor cost, warehousing cost, and it's moved to Khartoum and other places. Now because the problems are there in Khartoum and other places, everything is coming back. So actually speaking, the cost has increased triple time. So I don't think this is the right time to invest in Port Sudan, because Port Sudan is already a costly place.
Onur, thank you. Juby, thank you. Onur,
I have a short memory, Prakash.
I will ask you
one by
one. Exactly. No, first of all, this consumption in Turkey, as per you, in the coming year, at least let's talk about the next year, is it going to go up or come down?
I think it is going to go up. I mean, it has been going up in the couple of years, especially last 3 years. Many foreigners have come to Turkey and they built up their factories. So Turkey was mainly for the local consumers, Turkish market, and now we are exporting tahini, halwa to Europe and US, Canada. The export quantity is increasing, so I believe it will go up.
So the currency devaluation, this recession, it's nothing is going to affect the sesame consumption in Turkey. That's good news anyway.
The consumption will be affected, but it will be a slight effect because more than consumption, the quality of Turkish products, unfortunately for the local consumers, is going down. So somehow they will still eat tahina and halwa, but the quality of what they are eating will be lower, I believe.
This, what's the forecast on currency? Though it's very difficult, but next few months, maybe down the line, end of the year, I mean, you don't need to tell any figures or something, but the general expectation is for the devaluation, or somehow on the line there can be the Turkish currency can get its strength back.
It is $1 million question that if we all know, we will not be trading sesame seeds, but we are currently increasing the interest rates. Interest rate was around 8.5 and now it is 25%. This is central bank interest rate. You cannot get this from the banks. So as long as you continue increasing the interest rate, I believe the fluctuation will stop at some point. So it will be stable. The bankers says like their expectation is around 35, but they are also decreasing their expectation now because of the unexpected increase on the interest rate. We were expecting around 20% and the government made it 25. So I think it will not go to that level.
So, due to that sad earthquake, there were some, containers got burned got fire in Iskenderun port. And how is it operational, that Iskenderun port? Is it getting normal now? And how is the port congestion in Mersin and Iskenderun? Is the import cargo is coming to Iskenderun? And in Mersin, what's the port congestion? Is there any waiting time? Can you just, give us some, things, some light on it?
Because of the earthquake in Iskenderun area, the port stopped operating for some time, but then it became easier for the shipping lines. For example, Maersk Line was sending us emails for our Mersin shipments. They were asking us to divert the cargoes to Iskenderun. It is because of the congestion in Mersin. In Mersin, the vessels are waiting at the anchorage for like around 10 days. It can even go more, like 1 week to 10 days. So Iskenderun is getting recovering basically, and soon it will be like 100% functional, I believe.
Okay, my last question: how is the consumption pattern? Is it the consumption pattern changing, or what is the percentage? Like the main usage is like either confectionery or tahini, right? Tahina. And what is the percentage, and which is consumed more? Can you just highlight something on that consumption pattern?
It is hard to judge that. I would say because most of the quantity is being like number one quantity is chad now, and chad is being used for both. But of course, when you consider chad, Uganda, and some other small seeds, of course, tahina and halwa consumption, like sesame consumption on tahina and halwa, I would say around 60 to 65%, and the rest is for confectionery.
Thank you, Onur. Thank you. I think we'll just.
So we shall take a maximum of 2 questions from the house. Anyone has a question? Let's have a show of hands. Right, sir. And yes, ma'am. So we have our 2 questions right here.
Hello, my name is Babin Patel. My question is for Mr. Juby. People are talking about shipment from Sudanese cargo from via Chad to Cameroon. What is your ideas and views? Is it possible and that has happened, or just it is in the vein like people are talking just? Just want to ask you the question.
I don't think it's practical. From Chad to Cameroon itself is taking around, Chad cargo to ship it through Cameroon, through Douala port itself is taking around 7 to 10 days roughly. So crossing the borders for the Sudan cargo to take it via Chad to Douala, I don't think it's a practical option.
Bhavin Bhai, I think no. I mean, it's too long in route, and more than that, I think there is some political thing, because if you see the border between Chad and Sudan, it's more of the opposite parties. So I think there will be a political conflict between Chad and Sudan. Maybe it could be possible some of the Sudan cargo is going into Chad and getting shipped as Chad later on. That's just from the nearby border. Otherwise, using that Cameroon port is not practically possible.
But people say about like this towards pigeon peas that has been shipped from Cameroon, like Cameroon to India via like Sudanese cargo has been shipped from there. That's why I'm asking, because it's very difficult, as Mr. Judy said. Judy said that it is very difficult. So I'm surprised that people are doing that. So how practical and how it is viability wise, like profitability wise, it is, how it possible? That's why.
That was possible probably if you can see sometime there were no movement from Sudan at all. So maybe some of the border cargoes just move into that and as a special case, but regularly that route is too far. Probably if they can make from Egypt, still I would be better, but it needs both the government's cooperation.
All right. We have a question from Miss Anna. We are sending a mic. Okay, it's there.
Hello, it's for Onur. I agree that the more competitive origins, India and Nigeria, are becoming challenging coming into Turkey, and as a result, quality will come down. But do you think there is room for premium sesame to come in at higher levels in order to support the quality of tahini and halwa? Premium, as you know, Ethiopia, if we can get Sudan out. Do you think there's room for that, or is it still going to be a very much a price-orientated market, even if it does affect the quality of the end product, the tahini, the halwa?
Well, Turkey already has good factories that are working only for the quality products. Like, for example, Ethiopia imports in first 7 months, I think, if I'm not around it was around 1,000 tons. And Sudan, actually, more than 40–50% of the cargoes coming to Turkey are good qualities. The problem is, what I meant to say is, earlier, maybe it was around 70%, now it's coming down. With, I don't want to mention the origins, but the taste of other origins will not be as same as Sudan. Even Chad is a good test they are using for both. Ethiopia. So these are, even Nigerian sesame is much better than some other origins test-wise. So the quality product is there in Turkey. Our quality is used to be better. Now some factories are reducing their qualities, but there is of course a room for better qualities.
Thank you. Thank you for all the panelists. I think the session is going to close. So what I conclude, yes, we have enough problems. We have a lot of problems. But at the end, we know how to solve. We will solve and we will go ahead. And the only thing for me to advise everybody, when you do the business, extremely careful. There are a lot of uncertainties in the world. Many things are coming which we are not expecting. So always trade with utmost care. Thank you.
Fantastically summed up, Prakash sir, and as he very rightly said, of course there are problems, there are challenges, but I think this is where platforms and forums like the World Sesame and Peanut Conference come up. This is the place where everyone gets together, all the stakeholders across all the functions and verticals, and this is where the future path is also illuminated and enlightened for all of us. This has been such an amazing session, sir, and one final request, a memento for each one of our speakers, starting with a memento for our first speaker this afternoon, Mr. Rengarajann, sir. Thank you for your suggestion for bringing families as well, sir, but you would still have to get them on your own expense, sir. But what I would suggest to all the men in the house is that when you have such a full house and such amazing, business sessions happening, remember to click a picture and send it to your wife so that she can be happy and she can relax that you're not partying, you're actually working here. So ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our next speaker, Mr. Kunal Kotecha, sir. Thank you so much. And of course, a big thank you going out to Mr. Juby Moothedom. What a stellar presentation, sir. I think a huge round of applause because I think he knows every sector, every route, every supply chain sector through the globe. That was so amazing to listen. And of course, last but not the least, Mr. Tahir, Onur, thank you so much, sir, for bringing a bit of Turkey right here to the Dead Sea. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to invite the lovely Miss Anna Maria from Torq to present a memento to Mr. K.S. Prakash. You know something, I'd like to share a very amusing fact with you. So when we were discussing that who should be invited on the stage to present a memento to Mr. K.S. Prakash, well, business-wise, maybe Hakan and Torq are competing for the same pie. But this event is all about Sesame diplomacy and networking and forging relations ahead. So let's have a round of applause for this moment. Gentlemen, requesting you to please stand up. Anna ma'am, stay on the stage. A group picture for you all.